Hello, everyone, and welcome back after a long hiatus here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube and Rumble channel. Today is I believe, the first show back after the conference. I think I get to be the inaugural show to start the new wave Beyond the Woo conference. So just saying hello to people over in the chat. Welcome, everybody. Please weigh in and tell us how you enjoyed the conference. This is our first chance to kind of just chat a little bit about it. And as you can see, Meg Moonbeam is not here today. She's actually still in Ottawa. And she asked if I would go ahead and do the show without her. And I said, well, you know what? It just so happens that I have a really dear friend who I would like to invite on as a special guest. So we'll get to that in a minute here. Before we do, of course, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe over here to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. We're also coming to you streaming live on Rumble and X channels. And you can find me here at the Beyond Mystic consultations page, where you can book a 1-hour session with me. And you can use the coupon code on the banner below to receive a 10% discount on that session. So let's have a look at, first of all, we're going to start with the cards and just see what is coming forward for today. Hi, Laura, Earth Dragon, Tracy, Fire Within, Amore, Eye of State. Yeah, beautiful. Hi from Washington. Oh, you're welcome for the presentation. It was amazing. It was so incredible to be with all of you, and those of you watching live. It was very, very powerful. I could feel your energy and our combined energies, and it literally felt like I was just stepping onto a stage and going right into a ceremony. It felt like we were doing a ceremony together. Yeah. It was such a success. It was a beautiful experience. Everyone enjoyed it. And it does feel like we're starting a new era. And it's interesting, you know, a lot of people at the conference were saying, what's it going to feel like when we go home? Is it going to be a letdown? Is it going to be hard to bring all that we've experienced, you know, and bring it into our lives and let it transform us and let it show us the new direction? And I think what my friend Charlene and I are going to be talking about today is going to help you with that, because we are in this incredible, I mean, Meg's talked about all the retrogrades that we're going through. We're coming into, of course, the eclipse season. And so with all of this energy of retrograde and eclipse, it's so much about the review of the past. It's about, you know, the integration of what's gone before. And I even had the analogy come to me earlier today about the sacred labyrinth. And in that, when you walk a labyrinth, of course, you walk through trying to get to the middle. You're going around and around and around. And the final circuit you do before you go right to the center, to the new beginning, is the outer edge, to gather all the last pieces, to synthesize everything. So it feels like that's what we're doing with the old paradigm right now. We are walking that outer edge. And I think Charlene can help us determine how long that's going to happen for, how we can handle that over the next little while. But before I invite her on, I want to just have a look here quickly at the cards, weighing in. Where are we at? Where are we going? As Charlene likes to lay them out. And how are we going to get there? Where are we at? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? So we've got Two of Swords. We're in this place of, wow, almost like we've just gone through a huge upgrade or a huge up-leveling, a huge expansion, or at least we've felt that. But you'll see this character here has still got the blindfold on. They can't move forward yet. They have to wait for the right moment. And you'll notice that the moon there's this crescent moon in the sky. So there's a sense that this is a cycle. This isn't personal. This isn't just one person. This is everybody, because it's the moon is presiding over the timing of everything. So we know we're going to be waiting for all the pieces to line up. But we're not just sitting idly doing nothing. Of course, we are gathering and reviewing everything, going over one last time. Have we healed? Have we fixed things before we go into this, the new beginning? Sovereignty, the sovereignty card, 9 of Pentacles, the independent being that is standing in the beautiful garden of their creation, really attuned and aligned with all the abundance that's available. So through their actions over a long period of time, through their hard work and efforts, they've come to this place of, self-actualization and independence, sovereignty. So this is where we're going. This is where we are. And how are we getting there? The 3 of Pentacles, teamwork, collaboration. You know, Pentacles are about the material world, material reality, and the 3 is the synergy. It's the number of, harmonizing, sharing, playing, working together. So we've had a great experience, many of us that were at the conference, of what it feels like to work together, to come together and celebrate and look at ways that we can build the future. Not all, we're going to go into it. We're going to be sovereign and independent, but how we're getting there is working together, basically, is what I'm being shown here. So we could say that this is what Spirit is putting out there as our theme, the overall theme for today's As Above, So Below show. And I think it's about time to connect with Charlene and have her weigh in on this. So I'm going to start off by sharing with you Charlene's YouTube channel. Just hold on a second. I'm going to bring this up on the screen. I think you're going to be amazed at what's on here. So here's Charlene's YouTube channel. It's called Radical Feng Shui with Charlene. And I love how she describes this. It says, join me for a fun romp through this fascinating ancient art and how it can enlighten and empower you right now. It'll be a journey through Feng Shui or wind water. And she goes on to describe that. And she has links here to her book called Elemental Feng Shui, The Art of Orientation, a guide to modern Feng Shui application, available for purchase at the link on her YouTube channel. And check out all her videos, 367 videos here, folks. She has got all this stuff about the year of the snake, the rabbit month, all different aspects about how to work with design in your home, in your garden, in your life, your lifestyle, working with the elements, working with your Chinese astrology, predictions for the year of 2025. It just goes on and on, working with nature spirits. It's phenomenal. You're going to be blown away, folks, when you check out her YouTube channel. So to find a link for her channel, you're just going to go into the comments at the beginning. I put a link there. It is called Radical Feng Shui with Charlene. There we go. So, drum roll, please. Let me welcome my dear friend and ally and co-conspirator, Charlene. Hi, Charlene. Welcome to the
Hi,
show.
ASHALA. Hi, everybody.
Yay. This is so
Hi.
great. While I was thinking about, I'm just going to close my cards down for a minute here. While I was thinking about introducing you, Charlene, I was like, yeah, we talk about people that are radical, that are, systems busters, that push back against the matrix, that live, live by their true values. And I honestly can't think of anyone I know that has done that more artfully and more authentically than you, Charlene. Like,
Aw.
I've known Charlene for 20 plus years, and this woman is truly, she lives by the art of Feng Shui. She lives her life by that art form. She creates beauty. She has incredible experiences traveling and making making magic, making beauty everywhere she goes. She lives a radical lifestyle, and it's living that, and living that for so many years and holding that frequency. She can speak with such real, authentic authority on these topics because she lives it. She's not just studied it, she is enacting it. So, with that intro, Charlene, um, let's jump into this topic about well, you've heard what I already said, right? About
I loved it. So the three cards, when I saw the blindfold and the
yeah.
swords, it's just like that talks about the snake year. It's like we're ready, but we're at pause. The snake year
Mm-hmm.
is all about being astute, intelligent, and on point. And it's about, we may be wanting to move forward quicker, but we really have to do our due diligence, do our homework, be really prepared because the snake strikes fast, very efficiently. So it's, I've written about this on my website. People can go to that too. Uh, it's really a powerful time to like step back while being in motion. So the second card, that actualization card, was so beautiful because it was like, there we are at the Nine of Pentacles, and that's like a true actualization, like in the real world. So we're there, but we're not like on the chariot running towards it yet. We're just kind of like, we're waiting and watching for the right moment, which is exactly what the snake energy is about. The
Mm-hmm.
challenge is it's a wood year, which is a lot about springtime and early morning and getting your coffee and getting ready to go, and then going, okay, let's sit down and go through everything here. The great works card, that's what I call the Three of Pentacles, the great work. And as a designer, I love this particular card because of they're looking at the design, and they've done it together, but it's like, how are we getting there? We have a great work inside of us. Everybody's working towards it. Now, whether that's a challenge and something, like losing people and grieving, whether that's a project we've been working on for years, or whether that's new inspiration, there's a great work there that we can resonate with. And it could be something that's out in public or not. It can be a very internal thing. And that's like, I remember talking to you about tigers this year. Tigers are so out there, and you're a water tiger, you have all this mystical energy, but it's about personal development for you this year. It's about going deep, right? So every animal has a
Mm-hmm.
different challenge this year, but it is about the great work. What is that great work or the great works? So I love
Mm-hmm.
those cards that were just like, yes, I love
Well,
them.
and there's, what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of almost contrasting energies at play, right? Because we've got the snake, which is like, going slow and transmuting and doing all this deep inner work, and then we've got the wood, which is like, whoa, go. charge
Exactly.
charge
Exactly.
forward,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then, here we've got, with this year, we see this, for example, we've got the independence, the autonomous, you know um, sovereign,
Yeah.
independent person, self-actualized, but then we've got the working together with others, so it's like
Big,
we're
really big. Yeah. The
big.
collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration this year is really big, but thoughtful collaboration, because the snake is about going slow, but it's very, very observant. It's super observant. It knows
Mm.
what's going on at all times. It doesn't get lost in its place. You know, when it's ready to shed a skin, it's there. And when it's ready to, you know, when it's doing its thing, it's always observing. And
Mhm.
we don't know it because it's quiet and silent, right? So it's definitely one of those years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Shar, let's step aside from this for a
Okay.
moment.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know about what is the difference between Western astrology and Chinese astrology, nine-star key astrology, what you do, can you tell us just briefly what the difference between those two is?
Yeah, it's what I do is called 9-star key astrology, and I came to this work because even though I had laid out, you know, like I work in a certain way around your personal elementals, your time of birth, like your birth hour, all these things gives me what elements you carry, and those elements tell me what you need in an environment and for balance. So
Okay.
in the process of that, I realized that I really wanted to know more about my clients because as an earth person, I know that a wood person is going to be pushing against me all the time, whereas a metal person or a fire person is going to be just like right in there with me. So then
Mhm.
I found 9-star key astrology and I studied it. And from that, my first job was like a 17-person Pilates studio in San Francisco. It was just like, oh yeah, just jump in there and sort out why it's happening 3 days of the week and not, and we balanced it all out, got a great person. So I was really thrown into it. So when if I'm looking at a couple or a family, I want to know what their dynamics is emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and then what's happening with the elementals in the home. So that's I bring my feng shui totally into a personal realm. And of
Mhm.
course that's taken a long time. I mean, I have a degree in interior design, it's my passion.
Mhm.
But then I went towards, you know, somebody introduced a book to me one night and I read a cover to cover one night and went, I've been doing this my whole life. So
Mm.
I've been doing feng shui for 30 years now. And I've
Yeah.
had three amazing masters, but my latest master, Master Lim of Kimag International, he was the one that kind of woke me. After 7 years
Mhm.
of study and working with it in my
Mhm.
design practice, that's when I got woke. And then
Mhm.
he
Not
consequently
woke.
threw not woke, no,
Awakened.
but I got awakened,
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
power of what I was working with, right? I was doing so much through my intuition. And
Mhm.
now I was doing it from a very steady traditional way. So the 9-star key, that you know, like I talk about this, you have a principal number, a character, and an energetic number. And I go, well, Western astrology is like all the stars in the firmament. You can have a reading every day. You have a weekly, what's happening for you this week. But the 9-star key is the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, with two, the yin and yang star of Vegas and Polara balancing it out. You know, we
Mhm.
know that the Big Dipper and the 4 quadrants of the seasons moves differently through the sky. And so for each and every one of those 9 stars, there's an elemental that belongs to it. Now there's only 5 elements. There's 5 elements in the Asian system. There's 9 stars. How do you do that? Well, fire and water, most powerful of elements. There's only one number each. Then
Mm.
we have Earth, which we live on, 3 numbers that go right through the middle of the
Oh.
bagua. So that's our grounding. And then to balance that out, kind of like Polaris and Vega, we have 2 wood elemental people and 2 metal people. So that makes up the nine
Mm.
stars. And the information is fascinating. It can tell you about your career, your relationships, how you work with other people. I do a lot of relationship work counseling in terms of like
Mhm.
why they work or why they don't, and how my kids would always call me up, run the numbers, mom, because I just met somebody new, and it's like, okay, this is not going to be good for you, or that could really
Yeah.
work for you. So you know, I laugh about that, but and I've been doing the 9-star key for probably a good 20 years
Mhm.
in my practice after 7
Yeah.
and then 3 years with Dr. Lim. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
So
been
that's
really helpful. And you know, I know that you combine the nine-star key also with the Chinese astrology.
yes,
So, you know, combine that with knowing a person's year,
yes.
which year animal, and which year element they're working with. So it's
Then I
almost
go
like
into
a,
your personal elements to
yeah.
see how that combines. And now when I'm doing readings, it's
Hmm.
like when I know your 9-star key elementals and I'm doing a reading, because I do the Tao deck, it's like
Hmm.
the I Ching. And I like to do a 5-star reading because it tells you about where you're, it's a slice through your life or a particular question. But it's like,
Mhm.
what's at the beginning? What's the fire? What's the grounding? What's the metal alchemy? And what's the subversive, maybe helping or hindering you on any level? But when I
Right.
know your elements, I can see how they interplay. And that's
Mhm.
becoming more fine attuned in me. So
Mhm.
going back to the Western, we have your sign, very similar to the principal number. Your moon sign is very similar to the character number. It's the root of your emotional
Okay.
body and who you are from the time you're born until you hit about 18. And then you have the energetic numbers, kind of like the ascendant,
Mm.
what you look like to the outside world. It does have to do with you, but it's more of the car you drive as
Mhm.
opposed to what's in the car. So
Okay.
it's an interesting overlap of, you know, the big picture and this is a microcosm.
So let's have some fun here, Shar.
Okay.
Why don't we look at the next month? Because I'm just checking over here in the comments, and so many people talking about the conference, about how it feels to come back. For
Yes.
those of you that weren't there or were watching live, we had a most incredible, extraordinary, exceeded all our expectations in terms of how everything synergized and worked together. And it just felt like everyone showed up with their best foot forward and their greatest strengths. And it was an incredible dance of synergistic, co-creation and celebration. And it really lifted our spirits. Like we danced till late in the night, like early morning, every single night. And, I got up in the morning and went to the speakers and spoke, had incredible conversations in the hallway over breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it was just an incredible experience. And then it's like we return home and we're all going like, oh my gosh, how do I integrate this? And what do I do? Because we know we've been hearing from Meg, March, April, the biggest months. Like the astrology is just incredible, and it's a little intimidating, right? It's a little bit like, what do we do with all of this? So I would love for y'all look at the card chart, and then you also tell us what we need to know about right now, like this next week or so, and going into the next month, and how that like leads us into this full year ahead kind of thing.
Okay, well, good timing because I just posted 2 videos, and the first one is about, like I'm recovering from a surgery. I had a lot of things posted up to the end as like, oh, it's time to get out there again, right? Like, and then it just hit me, like we need to do a snake year update, and it's the month of the rabbit. And that
Okay.
started on March 5th, ends on April 5th. So it's never the first of the month.
Okay.
And then I'm like, okay, so I'm like, rabbit, what's rabbit? So rabbit is the kind of animal that's super intelligent, kind of keeps things to its chest. It never really divulges everything. It's part of its wit. It's fashionable and out there and very agreeable, but it's got this whole hidden part. Now,
Mhm.
it lives in the due east, which is all about sunrise and like the wood element I was talking about,
Mhm.
rapid growth, movement, energy coming towards us. I mean, that's what's happening outside in some places right now. It's like things are popping. So that energetic combined with that withdrawn or very observant snake, like how does that work together?
Yeah.
So basically what it really the key things here are patience. So like I said
Mm.
earlier when I was looking at the cards, it's like, yes, we're in a snake year and we're being observant, but there's a right time to move. And specifically this year, right now, just as we're coming into the equinox, that equal balance, equilibrium in a few days, super important. We're looking at what we're doing. And the plans that we adjust, reshift, remake now will have long reaching effects right through the year. The power of this
Mm.
month is getting clear in your mind and in your intentions. What do you want to see through the year into the year of the horse or into next year, 2026? So I was kind of shocked to get that. It was like, oh yeah, that's right. And it's about respect, patience and
Mm.
respect. So what does that mean? I'm like scratching my head going, well, that's the whole thing about snakes. They're very, like, they're in the center of the 5 elements, the 5 animals, they sit in the center. So they've got all these animals around them. They're always watching. And that's why they strike when they know they're going to hit the target. But now
Mm,
it's the plan. It's like, what is it we're going for and when are we going to do it? And making that plan right now is paramount to like your success
mhm.
at the end of the year into the next year,
Now,
this month.
I'm hearing this. It totally resonates for me. What about
Mhm.
the rest of you here? Let me know in the comments if this
Yeah.
resonates for you, where it's like almost like you see it all, you feel so much, but you know it's not the right time to act. But then you're like, well, what the heck? What am I supposed to do then? What do I do? Just,
It's a
you
plan.
know,
You make a plan. You
make a
make a
plan,
plan.
make a plan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like what I hear you saying, these words like intelligence, right? And like maybe going over things. And what I've been noticing, because all of this going slow and like going deep within, it feels very scorpionic to me, or very Piscean. And as a Gemini, it's so uncomfortable. I'm just like a Gemini with an Aries moon. I'm like, and a Libra rising. I'm like, I want to just get out, do something. Like,
Yeah.
can we just, like,
I get
okay,
that. Yeah.
enough. It's sort of like having indigestion or an upset tummy or something. It's like, can we just
Yeah.
do something and make this
Yeah.
shift? And it's not my favorite to be in that deep processing kind of place.
So
But
then the
yeah.
aspect too of spring is about fun. It's the number 3 and 4. It's about things that you can do with
Mm,
family. And, the collaboration is not just about the great work. It's about collaborating with others to do different things. Strengthening relationships this year is super important on all levels, personal, emotional, whether it's work, the big picture out in the world. It's like, so there is the aspect of fun and frivolity that comes into that spring, like, oh, is the daisy going to come out today or tomorrow? Like we can take that
mhm,
lightness and
mhm.
use it. Maybe not a way we would thought we'd be able to do. Maybe
Uh-huh.
it's a different little threads and we're trying to get heavy and like, oh, I'm planning, when am I going to do this? It's just like, throw that away. Let's do a painting and just let the lightness kind of guide me because, we know that in meditation that, if we sit long enough and we stop the inner, like the head speak, then the beautiful, the downloads come, spirit speaks, our
Mhm.
intuitive energy bubbles up and we connect with things. And that's what's so important. And what I love about Nine Star Key, as you've said in many of your podcasts and your videos, that, in Nine Star Key, it tells you what month you're in. Are you in a
Mhm.
beginning month? Are you in a hold back and be careful month? Are you in a full
Uh-huh.
on celebration and, abundance month? Are you in a stillness month? Are you just on stage? You're fire. So
Yes.
that's the added part of Nine Star Key is it really puts you, it guides you through that personally, like your own particular number. So
This
there's a lot of different ways you can pull it in and work with it for sure. And,
this
with
is,
this,
yeah.
yeah,
This is so Fire Within is saying snakes turn around for the target makes sense. Yeah, like I have loved working with the tarot and regular astrology and nine star key astrology, kind of
mm,
combining them.
mm,
What I do at the beginning of each year is I look at each month and I'll pull a card for each month using the tarot, and then I will look at where my ninth star key is for
for
that
that
month
month,
as
yeah,
well, right?
yes,
And then
yeah,
I'll look at the larger astrological influences of that month and
hmm,
any predictions that have been made around that. And then
right,
finally, I'll do like cards for everybody
that's
for
fun.
each
That's
month of
so
the
fun.
year.
Yeah,
It's a lot, but you know what?
yeah,
When I get to like, I'm coming up on a very interesting 4 month period, and
right,
just it started literally like, this last weekend, and
right,
I feel it. And if I didn't know what that was, I would be probably quite confused right now.
right,
Because normally, like after going through an experience like the conference, I would come home and I would just be like so lit up and ready to, like, I'd have ideas. Oh, I'm going to contact this
yeah,
person and I'm going to
yeah,
do this and I want to start, sharing this offering or taking this course, or I'd be just all a buzz with, ideas and inspiration and what am I going to do with all of this? And I feel strangely almost like it's sort of held in a spell or something. It's just this almost like a quiet, and it's what you're describing, Shar. And then when I look at my months that are coming up here, the
Which
next
month
3
are
or
you
4,
in? I'm curious.
I'm trying to remember in the 9-star keys system. I think this was actually celebration, but interestingly, like looking at the cards that I pulled for the next few months as well, and then knowing about the snake year,
Right.
I'm like, this makes a lot of sense. This is not just any year. This is not just any, you know,
For you especially, yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
really, really special year for
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah, it
So
is.
we may have done something similar to this when we went through this cycle last time, but this time it's really big. And so going back to do a big review and gather up all the loose ends, that's a very big job at this point, right? It's not something we're going to be able to rush through. And
No.
like I said before, for me, that is not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And yet,
Patience.
patience, and of course,
Respect.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I want to follow up on what you said about, like, let's look at some ways that we can make this process more, I want to say, inviting or something is what I'm hearing. Like, how do we make the most out of this? You were talking about the celebration and playfulness and
Mhm. Mhm.
creativity.
And the
I'm just
one
gonna,
thing I'd want to
yeah.
say before the just curious is just about the aspect of the equinox and how
Mm,
twice a year we have this space where everybody's at the same location vibrationally, planetarily. I'm not a Western astrologer. I don't know what that means, but I read about it. I keep up on it. This past eclipse, all of this is so dynamic. So now we're coming up to this balance point, and it's a beautiful time just to step back. And it gives us, this time will give us the ability to kind of look at the whole picture very quickly and
mm,
intuitively find the spots, like not
mm.
mentally, but intuitively just go, that's pulling me, that's pulling me, that type of thing. So I'm anxious to see what your cards say.
Yeah, and it doesn't
Yeah.
always make sense, right?
No, never
I,
makes sense.
you know, well,
Well, I mean,
you
it
want
does,
it
but it
to,
doesn't. But
but
when you trust it,
yeah.
when you start to trust your gut feeling, then it makes perfect sense. But
Mhm.
sometimes if you're talking to somebody who's not of the same mindset or whatever, and you're talking about where you like half the time in my life, right? Like, and they're like, "Oh, you're no, they're always like, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Like what? You've got 9 days from Costa Rica to go through 4 cities to get on a surgery, like to have surgery." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing it. I know I can do this." Somebody else would be freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I
Like,
was saying earlier, like, you really are radical feng shui, Shar. You really are. You are what you say you are. Okay,
yeah.
let's have a look at how we not only navigate, but how we really, I want to say, get into this. I feel like I don't want to just have to get through it. I don't
Yeah.
want to
That's
just,
right.
oh, it's another one of these, like, so many of our followers are like, I am so sick of waiting. Stop
Yeah.
telling me
Yeah.
waiting. I can't stand all this waiting. And when are we going to start the new, build the new, create the new? Meanwhile, we're
Yeah.
like, we just had this conference where people had their minds, hearts blown open. Like, that is not, how did we get there? We actually waited and waited and waited and waited. And then at the exact moment we took that leap, like the
Mhm.
snake, and just went, I'm
Yeah.
doing it. How many
Yeah.
people I talked to that were like, oh, I couldn't think about it. If I thought about it, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have done it. I just had to, it was like, I just had this feeling and instinct. I did it. And then many of them said, and then I was like, what did I do? I don't know if I can go. Like, a lot of people were like hesitant after the
The
fact and
resistance factor. The
resistant,
resistance factor. Yeah.
right? And but
Yeah.
then it was just that, exactly what you said about the snake. It's going to feel really like some part of you just goes,
Boop.
now,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time you just got to keep, what is this? 7 of Wands. Hang
Wow.
in there, right? This
Yeah.
guy is
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
standing between the worlds, the old system and the
Yeah.
new, weaving the past and the future,
Mhm.
holding that, almost like holding the timelines together is what
Yeah.
I'm getting,
And
right?
just poised.
Poised,
Poised.
ready
Yeah.
to jump when
Yep.
the moment is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and there's another wand. So all that wood energy where you were talking about, right? The
Yes.
wood snake.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is the year of the wood snake, and that wood energy. What does wood do? It like bursts up and grows. Look at these rods. They've got all that new growth on
Gross.
them.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's
like,
balance. He's balanced between the two.
it is. And I
It's
just
like,
looked over it.
yeah,
I hope
love
I
it.
can hold the cards up close enough that you can maybe see this. Hold on. Get this guy's face in view.
Yeah.
He's looking over at this guy. Can you see his face? He's kind of going like, okay, dude, anytime now. Like,
This guy's going, well, it's the equinox now. I'm just kind of holding both worlds and I'm making it.
exactly.
I'll get there. Don't worry.
This guy, meanwhile, this guy's going, no, I'm getting a big picture. I'm getting a huge download. Just wait a minute. Wait a couple of months, okay? And this guy's like, uh-huh.
Huh? He looks young and strong. He can hold the pose for a while.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is your soul, right? This is your soul. This is your higher self. And you know what? The reason it looks young and strong is because we've been training. We've been training for the last 6-7 years. We've been in super stealth training. We've been in training camp, right? This guy can hold. He can hold.
Yeah, that's his job.
And then this one is saying, yeah, just hold the line, because I'm looking at the big picture now.
Yeah.
I'm really scoping.
Yeah.
I want to take in everything. Do you see how far and wide he's looking?
Got a great Ming Tang.
Tell us about Ming Tang. What is Ming Tang, Char?
Ming Tang is the literal translation is Great Hall. And I like to talk about Tiananmen Square because people remember it from various things. But Tiananmen Square can hold thousands and thousands of people. And the emperor, like the queen, when she comes out, or the queen and the king come out on their little pedestal, they see everybody. These are the people who are looking at them that support them. So when you have a view in your house that's 360 and you can see 1.5 kilometers, you have an amazing Ming Tang, and you can see like Tiananmen Square, you see that, like you're watching the future come at you and you're waiting for it. You're not mulling around behind trees and trying to get rid of obstacles. You're actually seeing it all. And so the Ming Tang is the informative, and we sit there and wait and watch, and then the ideas come, right? So Ming Tang, Great Hall, Tiananmen Square, when you turn around to go into battle, those thousands of people are with you. All the intentions and the force and what you call up is there with you. Your family, your ancestors, they're there. You're leading. So the Ming
Wow.
Tang is about observing what you've got and then also bringing in the inspiration. And
Wow.
that is like powerful Ming Tang right there.
So it's there's the visual of that, the metaphor of it, and then there's the actual, like, so in a way, gathering your Ming Tang is gathering the big picture of all that you have. And we don't focus on that very much, right? Because we're so busy, like, just trying to do this one thing, finish this task, and then, look at this one thing that we're really worried or anxious about. We're very, like, low thinking, right? Low acting.
Well, it's more that we forget. We go into our little, and we're forgetting to look at the support that we have. And like in this situation I've just gone through with the surgery, feeling support from people in a way I've never felt it, having people show up for me, just like this overwhelming, like, and it's not like they're here to help. They're just like, we're engaging. It's like people I haven't seen in years are showing up and bringing me goodies and expanding my universe, because I'm in a little, small little apartment that I'm out of in 2 weeks, right? I booked a place for 3 days for sun, Ming Tang, and right on the ocean.
Yes.
So I'm going from this like internal little, like lower floor apartment with one window in my bedroom that's up high to like seeing the big picture and celebrating. It's my gift to myself after, secluding myself for like eight weeks. So it feels really, really good. Yeah.
So for those of you, obviously you're figuring out, folks, that Char's just had a surgery, and she had to kind of lay low, which is not like her. She had to do that for almost a couple of months, right? But
It'll be 3 months, but I'm actually setting myself goal posts and making them happen because of the support. Like we forget about the
yeah.
support, forget
Well,
about the people that are loving us and sending us energy and support us. So it's like, look at the bigger picture again, the Ming Tang, and like, wow, it's all around me. So when I turn around, that's at my back. It's just like you've your back's covered, right? Like I've got your back.
mm,
It's bigger than we realize. So much
okay,
bigger.
so
Yeah.
look at this. This is the third card, and boom, drop that one in there, the priestess. So, when you were talking about the Ming Tang, it reminded me about when we were in Ottawa. So we were at the West End Hotel,
Mhm.
and our particular room, and a lot of the rooms of the staff, we were looking out over over Parliament Hill, and
Right.
like this incredible bird's eye view
Yeah.
of basically the heart
The
of our
pulse
country,
of
right?
Ottawa.
The
Yeah,
pulse of our
exactly.
country. And
Yeah.
it was so surreal because here we are
Yeah.
talking about building a new earth, in a way tearing down those systems, right? But
Shifting them.
also
Shifting them.
shifting them,
Yeah.
right?
Shifting them.
It wasn't just about tearing them down, it was about really getting to the heart of what the
Yeah.
stories are, what is the actual real history, what's really going on
Right.
here,
Yeah.
and also just gathering all that information, and then where are
Hmm.
we taking that? and and
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and then on the other side, in our conference hall, which was a massive room too, and you felt like you looked around, and just the
Yeah.
number of people in this massive hall, that was like a Ming Tang. That was like a view of, there's your
Yeah.
support. And I think people were just blown away. I was certainly blown away by it. It was like, oh my gosh, here are all these like-minded people come from all corners of the earth to show up and do this gathering together for this purpose at this time,
Hmm.
overcoming all the resistance, stand like holding the line,
Yeah. Yeah.
waiting for the right moment,
Yeah.
year of the snake, just saying, yep, I'm going to buy the ticket. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. It just feels right. And then
Hmm.
we all got to see, actually, we got to
Right.
see the big picture of like
Yeah.
looking at the country and
Hmm.
all of that they've built up to hold the power.
Right.
And then we felt what we were building to hold our power. And it was just this incredible
Hmm.
juxtaposition
Wow.
between
Sounds
that
amazing. Yeah.
outside and us inside. And it seemed almost like a mirror to me. It was like a mirror image of, that's the old and this is the new.
Right.
And
Very cool.
another two. Okay, so we've
The
got the
high
two of
priestess. The
wands,
high
and then we've got,
priestess. Oh my
yeah,
God.
the high
I
priestess.
couldn't tell whether it was the queen of something or like I didn't understand it.
No, it's the
Yeah.
priestess, which is
Wow.
another, right? We had that two of
Between
swords
heaven and earth,
earlier.
right? Like that, like really tapping in. It's like the center of the bagua, the center of a home, the pooling
Mm,
chi area. It's just like where everything passes through. We put ourselves in meditation. We allow that channel to flow and bring information, right? Just sitting
yes.
quietly.
And that's it. She
Yeah.
is the observer, the greatest
Yes.
observer.
Yeah.
And she is also like, everything is registering. Like, she
Yeah.
is snake medicine for sure, because she is
Mm.
just
Ooh.
taking a stock of all
Yeah.
of it, right?
Yeah.
The past, the
Yeah.
future, what's happening over here, what's happening over here, the dark, the light, the polarity, the unification. We talked this weekend about um the ontology, right? And the singularity, and
Right.
these principles of things coming into like the unification of these
Wow. Wow.
polarizations.
Yes.
And so to do that out there,
Yeah.
we have to do it in here. And when we even get to experience a little bit of it out there, like we did at the conference, we all come home and we go, whoa, now I got to do it
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
So I was asking, like, how do we engage with this? We're getting almost the same messages here. It's that hold the line, keep the Ming Tang, as
Keep the
Charlene
big
is saying,
picture. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
big picture,
Yeah.
Get a bit bird's eye view. Keep,
Mhm.
if you get freaked out or if you get anxious and you want to chase something and grab it and like just get small again,
Yeah.
go bigger.
Yeah.
Go like if
Yeah.
this was
Like
a
even if
different
you have
card.
to take if you have to take yourself to a hilltop or somewhere where you get the big picture and sit there, very important. That's why I love going to the ocean here because I'm in a, lower floor apartment and I just when I get out there, I'm like, I get filled. I take it home and I can, work with it. But it's like when I don't ever have a good Tang from a place that I am living, I get out and get one almost every day. You can put a beautiful view on your laptop, on your, just having that flash up on you every once in a while and you say, oh, wow, it's a gorgeous scene. You're seeing the bigger picture. These are the little cues that we use in Feng Shui to remind us what we're focusing
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Beautiful. And I think also when you were talking, Charlene, about the midpoint, right? Which
Yeah,
of course,
balance point,
for those of
equilibrium.
you that are missing Meg, she'll be back next week and we'll be going deep diving
Nice.
into all the energies of the equinox, the spring equinox, and what's coming up. I think there's another solar eclipse just around the corner and so on. So we've got lots coming up here, but I really am even getting all these two shars. I'm getting a feeling about the next 2 weeks and the next 2 months.
2 months.
Can you tell
Yeah.
us about the next month? What comes after Rabbit?
Dragon. And it's another wood. It's a wood. It has wood energy. So it's a continued theme, but the dragon is now making moves. He's kind of like it's like the mystical serpent. It's the only animal in all of the Chinese animals that is a mystical animal. So we've kind of gone from dragon to snake because dragon is the year before the snake, from the mystical and all the stuff that happened last year into the snake year where it's like, okay, we're taking a real observant view, but we're still moving. So the dragon's going to be helping us move even quicker and faster. And well, we've already, if we looked at the Ming Tang or the big picture and we know where we're headed, we know what we have to do next month. If you know what month you're in, you know what cycle you're in. So it's really
Mhm.
fascinating to get that part, right? Is to kind of like the dragon's coming. And then right
Mhm.
after that, it's the month of the horse. So then we're going like it's an animal we can relate to that is singular and independent, but it's also always looking for the herd. It may go off on its own. If you think of wild horses, go off, they always come back to look at what's going on in the herd and
Mhm.
take care. So, horses are like
Mhm.
that. So we're going from like rabbit, which is like, I'm hiding all my things here, but I'm also, the brain is going, which is why the impact on us is like we're
Mhm.
looking at the big picture, we're looking at the long picture, and we
Mhm.
don't, what we may think that we know what we're doing, like, and
Mhm.
then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're like, wait a minute, I've got to come back, and I'm going this way.
Mhm.
It could be that the information that comes in is contrary to what we thought. But if you trust your intuition, if you trust your path, and a lot of people, a lot of folks out here, I know that they're tuned in, and so with
Yeah.
that tuning in and reshifting everything, it's like you have to trust yourself, right? That's the patient aspect and the respect aspect of this month. So it
Mhm.
goes on into something a little different, which I will be posting like videos about it in, as soon as April 5th comes, it'll be okay. This is what we're doing in the Year of the Dragon. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but
Mhm.
continued movement. It's got the mystical aspect, it's got the magic portion to it.
Mhm.
And then we go into the horse, which is like full on south, summer, heat, fire.
And that's next year, right? Next year is the year of the horse.
Yeah, so we're going into the month of the horse starting. So we're going April, May, June. So right at the
Mm.
beginning, like right at the solstice, we're going to be in the year of the horse. Next year, we're going into the year of the horse as well.
Yes,
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
Fire
so
horse.
all of this snake year energy of having to go slow and having to reprocess and redigest everything and shed the
Mhm.
old skin and then go back and do it all again and again.
Well,
And
you
it's
don't have
like,
to do it all again. It's more about it's about fine tuning what you're already doing. For the odd
okay.
person, it's going to be something totally different, but you've already got the plan. You've already got it in you. You know what you're doing, but now you're
Mm,
just fine tuning it. This month especially is a good one for that. The year is a good one for that. It was like me being in Costa Rica and getting the download. You're not building anything till the year of the horse. Like Just you're prepping the show. And it
Okay.
was really shocking because I was ready to do all the stuff and it
Hmm.
was just like complete shutdown. No, I'm doing this methodical. And then the minute I decided, it was just like my whole body went, yeah, it's being methodical.
Mm.
We know what we're supposed to do. We're just making little fine adjustments here and there.
That's very helpful to me because I've been getting really kind of pulled down, as you can tell, with this snake ear. I've been like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like more transmutation, and it like just makes me feel kind of nauseous, But
No, the transmutation, the shedding, it's just
yeah.
like, I'm ready. And all of a sudden, boom, you're like in a new skin. And you're like, I didn't know that was going to happen. It's like, yeah,
Well, I like what you said about the fine tuning. That helps me
yes,
actually
yes,
because
yeah.
it's like it isn't just the same thing over and over again. Where every time
Never.
we shed, every time we get clearer, we're
Yeah,
fine tuning. We're fine
yeah,
tuning. So
that's right.
if I treat this year as a lot of fine tuning and a lot more fine tuning, right? That's what these 3 cards indicate for
Yes,
sure.
yes, they
So this
really
is what we've
do.
got. I would say the next 7 or 8 weeks, right?
Hmm.
And then the last thing I want to say about this is, boy, our intuition is going to be so keen.
Yeah.
We're going to just know so much inside and outside of ourselves. I'm going to pull a couple of cards to see how we handle that,
Ooh, okay.
because it's great on one hand, but it's also, again, it's a little bit overwhelming to have that
Well,
much.
especially coming into June and our longest days of the year and the activation of what June is for us in the Northern Hemisphere. So different
Mhm.
than the people in the Southern Hemisphere they're going for the deep dive into the winter and attuning to that. We're like, where you're talking about the uncertainty and whatever, it's like, yeah, coming into June, there's already lots going to be happening for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just noticing Earth Dragon is saying, my ancestors are always with me. And that is another thing that this
Oh,
card, this High Priestess, is the ancestor card.
wow. Wow.
So, we're doing all of this. Yes, it's for our personal selves and the betterment of our
Yeah.
own personal spiritual journey. It's also
Yes.
for our community, the Beyond Mystic community, the awake, spiritual, activated community. Yes, it is for humanity and
Hmm.
for our
Hmm.
future. And it's also for the ones that went before us. It's for the honor of our ancestors. It's like, we're healing them. We're healing all that they went through.
Right.
We have an opportunity to repair that and not have to carry that
Healing.
forward,
The
heal it.
healing aspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a great, let's just start off by week
Yeah.
for that work. So
Mhm.
if you feel a bit like held back, as Charlene was saying, go look for a big view.
Yeah.
Know that you're fine tuning.
Have
Yes,
some fun. Have
have
some
some fun.
fun. Spring is about fun. It's awakening all the parts of us.
Mm.
Yeah.
A-
Spring
And that
fever.
and that it is, well, yeah, because look at this,
Yeah.
because I asked about, how do we handle all that intuitive
Right.
expansiveness?
Right.
And we have this sweet little playful, lovable, adorable Page of Cups and
Oh,
the Eight of
wow.
Pentacles.
Wow.
So
The
it's put
eight.
it
Wow.
into some
Yes.
kind of act of kindness, put it into something that you do,
Hmm.
like make something, do something creative, as Charlene was saying, put it grounded into something material, you
Yeah.
know, design something, create something, make a beautiful meal, um, do something with a child or an animal,
Yeah.
like create something,
Yeah.
create
Go play with rocks on the
something
beach.
fresh.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be big.
Oh, and then the
Oh, wow.
final thing, um, is it's also a very good week, month for attending to starting some new course of study. So
Wow. Yes.
while
Yeah.
we're in that fine tuning,
Uh-huh.
seeing the big picture, transmuting, waiting for the time to jump, we can be also building our sort of skill base. We can be building our awareness. We can be taking some kind of course of study. What was that word you used, Charlene, with the Three of Pentacles? You
The
called it
great work. The
The
great
great
work.
work.
Yeah, whenever I see that card, I just get so charged because it means it's there. I just have to see what it is, or sit down and do my watercolors and just get inspired by something, right? It's the great work. What is it in you, whether it's you or some business or some family thing that's going on or actual building? Like, there's so many things it could be. And it can be so simple, but so powerful.
So this definitely ties in with that because,
Hmm. Hmm.
I guess what I'm trying to say is instead of sort of waiting for something to happen or feeling, sort of anxious, it feels really important to channel that
Yes.
energy into
Yeah.
maybe you're not going to do, like you said, maybe you're not going to launch the new thing or build the new or
House.
start the new big thing, big
Yeah.
project, but you
Yeah.
can be fine tuning, creative, and also self study.
And that's the Hierophant, is it not?
That's the Hierophant. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I always connect with the shaman, dismember to remember.
Mm.
That's always a powerful one that comes up. Dismember to remember.
So it's another
Yeah.
pulling things apart
Yeah.
to put them back together in a new way. Now, Charlene, I was using the analogy a while ago about, cleaning out the junk drawer. And I know
Oh, good one. The clutter
you've done
clearing.
actual
Yeah.
videos on this. I think you've got some YouTube videos on cleaning out the junk drawer. Can you just quickly tell us from a feng shui perspective, what is the metaphoric significance about that?
Well, let me tell you a story that comes from a woman by the name of Denise Lynn, and she's a feng shui person from the West Coast. She had a lot of books a while ago. She has First Nations connection, so she was working with a client, a pair of clients in her home, and she got an emergency call from one of her clients. So she worked on many levels of feng shui and psychology, all of that. And the guy was kind of desperate. He was like almost suicidal.
Oh,
And she couldn't leave her clients hanging and talk to them. She said, go to your kitchen, find your dirtiest drawer, and reorganize it right away. So she gets back to him, like, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes later, and he was in a totally complete different frame of mind because he took the junk, which is in our heads and in our, that weighs us down, and
mhm.
reorganized it, pulled out what he didn't need, organized what he did. And then he was like, his whole psyche had shifted just by doing that one thing. You can do it in a closet. You can do it, like, and so many people put it off. So it's like, what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of discovering when we actually get rid of things we don't need, gift them, or put them in the garbage, whatever we need to do, it's an internal reorganization. So this is the thing about my radical feng shui with all the moving I do. I'm feng shuiing what I'm doing in my life all the time. And it can be powerful. It can be overwhelming for me because I move so rapidly through things, but at the same time it's just like shedding, 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 shedding. And that's what just one drawer can do for you. And if you don't do in one drawer, do two or five, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Don't stop until you kind of get that. I think I got it.
Well, and it really does change you psychically. I know when, earlier in my life, I was on a spiritual path,
Uh-huh.
but I was a lot messier. I have to say, I was like, I
Yeah.
just wasn't that organized. I was too busy doing stuff and having
Mhm.
experiences, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whatever, like I was clean, but I
Well, yeah,
wasn't
I
terribly
get it. Yeah.
organized, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've really noticed the more demand I have on my spiritual work that I need to be
Right.
present. I have a lot of
Yeah.
clients now, I have a lot of
Mhm.
responsibility.
Yeah.
And I just feel like when I get overwhelmed, I do that exact thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's almost like my psyche says something's amiss. I
Yeah.
see. It's the bookshelf. I can see it. I look for it and I'm like, right, I've been throwing stuff there for the last month
Yeah. Yeah.
and it needs to be organized. And
Yeah.
it's like, I think I'm doing it because I'm feeling uncomfortable in here and I need to create some order around me, right? But it's
Yeah.
so interesting that after I do it, it's almost like whatever that disorder in me was is shifted.
It totally shifts. That's the whole thing because we're connected to everything we own. We're connected to every piece of food in your fridge. You can do it in the fridge, organize one shelf, whatever. But once we reorganize that, it rewires our thinking and our ability to be inspired instead of pulled down. Because when things get packed up in a room, even, it's like it starts to slow us down. And when we get rid of things, like I say, like closet, getting rid of clothes for whatever, doesn't mean you're going to fill it up. You're actually building your emotional and physical, spiritual, you're adding to your bank account by getting rid of things that you're not attached to anymore, or
Okay.
organizing them in a way that you have more freedom, you feel more there's a lightness to it.
So I'm curious, like I want some clarification. You're adding to your bank account by your spiritual bank account
Your
by
spiritual bank
having
account.
space.
Yes, by creating space and reorganizing. It's working with the brain, but it's also working with our ability to, you're creating space, basically. If you reorganize a drawer and maybe you didn't get rid of anything, but it's organized, you've created space somehow. When you look at that drawer, you remember, like in my situation here, I have to be so specific about everywhere I put things because of, I'm using a walker, I'm using crutches, I'm using a cane. So I have to have it totally clean at night and ready for the morning. I may have a few dishes in the sink, but it has to be so precise for me to heal and get around and feel like I'm normalized at this point. So it's been a real great, for me, who's not typically the most patient person, I'm really learning a lot from this particular time, and it's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it, Char. I love it. It's almost like we could take everything that we've shared in this conversation and
Right.
wrap it up with that beautiful metaphor of like organizing on so many levels. Here we are all
Mhm.
going like, oh my gosh, I want to create this new thing and I want to start a healing retreat center and I want to do this and I want to do that. And now they're telling me it's not time yet. I have to
Yeah,
wait.
so
And
you go to your closet,
but
and you empty out half the shoes you have, or what, the
exactly.
symbology of like making space. And when you're doing it, you also get answers. When you're in a methodical, you're so focused, right? Surrendering to
Mm.
the demands of the moment keeps you from thinking about the past. It keeps you from going into the future. You're fixated on this one chore you're doing. You can't help but get some clarification. It's a powerful thing, especially with the strong intention.
Oh my gosh. All right, everybody. Don't you love this lady? I love this
I
lady.
just want to mention that if you do go to my website, or not my website, my channel, I'm going to be offering a little short reading for free for anybody that goes in,
Aw,
subscribes, and makes a note, like just leaves a comment and says, "Yeah, I'm in for that," blah blah blah, and then
there's
I'll email with you and we'll get the information set a time.
I mean, I'm just blown away. I haven't been over here for a while. I've been so busy with all my stuff, but there's so much here. Charlene's talking about different elementals, travel, feng shui in different parts of your home. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And like, how awesome. Thank you so much, Charlene. Thank you
And they're
for,
short. They're only 3-minute clips, not too many.
yeah.
Like some of my travel stuff, like when I'm moving from place to place and I don't have something I want to talk about, I just take you on a little travel vignette. And they're the most fun ones with music and pictures of whatever.
And like I said, you are the real deal. Like you've been a traveling feng shui practitioner, 9-star key astrologist, geomancer, dowser, on the move, living in the most beautiful parts of the world. Like, I mean, you should see this woman's Instagram. It's just been like over a decade of incredible stuff. In all parts of the world where she travels and house sits and does work for clients and amazing remote locations, and but it's the lifestyle of the true artist, which is exactly what the system does not want us to do, right? Charlene, like I said, is my number one systems buster sister. Like she lives it, and she's radically lives it because that's what she's prioritized. And whenever I think, woe is me, I don't have enough to do this, or I wish I had the ability to do that or whatever, I'm like, oh, come on, ASHALA. Charlene does that. Just buck up, Get courageous, take a little risk, why don't you, and clean your closet.
And clean your closet. Well, when you move around a lot, you continue to feng shui things on many levels. I mean, it's very
Exactly.
specific art and form because as a designer it works. But I'm seeing over the years, like 30 years, the last 10 years have been like, feng, wind, your breath, water, who we are. It's not this woo Asian art. It is, but it's also where we are. What are we doing this moment for ourselves? And how can we create a space to give us that, charge and inspiration? For me, it's all about inspiration.
And that, without that, and I think that's what we discovered at the conference. It was like, wow, the inspiration, like it's
Yeah.
not rocket science. Everybody showed up, and people kept saying, oh, thank you guys, thank you for creating this amazing thing. And we were the whole Beyond Mystic team, we were like, are you kidding? If it was our creation, we'd just be standing up here alone, and it would be like, twiddling our thumbs.
Yeah.
You guys are the creation. Like, it's
Yeah.
whatever just happened here, all
Yeah.
these people saying, I'm ready to take this leap and live like this.
Mhm.
That, exactly as Charlene just said, it's living from inspiration.
Yeah.
And I think that's the spell we realize. And people keep saying, when is it going to end? When is the truth coming out? When are we going to see the change? We just saw it.
We're in it right at this moment.
We are
just
in
don't
it. The
see it
spell,
because we're in it. Yeah.
if we were still under that dark cult spell,
Yeah.
that the conference wouldn't have happened. Like,
Right.
it happened not because somebody, forced it to happen. It
Right.
happened because the synchronicity of the souls that are ready to leap all came together, and it happened miraculously. And that's what, in a way, we're talking about with this energy of this particular spring, this year of the snake, this month of the rabbit. Yeah, we got to come back to what feels like going back over the past again. But oh my gosh, if it means that we can leap like that, if it means we get to up level that quickly and that huge, sign me up, right?
Yeah, me too.
Totally.
I
Okay,
got
I
it.
gotta go back. I forgot. I was supposed to. I was supposed to put something up here, so I'm just going to jump over and remind everybody. Speaking of Beyond Mystic, the annual membership Insider Access Pass is on sale right now. New for 2025, 1 year membership Insider Access Pass. And I believe, let me just check. Join and save 15% on the annual membership with promo code IAP15. Receive priority access to special promos, discount codes, access to special shows, and more. Check out the link below to get that. And of course, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow us here, Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. We're also streaming live on Rumble. And I am so delighted to be back doing shows. I just want to bring up my sessions as well. Here they are. 1 hour psychic tarot reading sessions with ASHALA. I am taking bookings into next week, so I'd love to see you there. You can use the coupon code on the banner below to get a 10% discount on that. Let's close off this show. Charlene, do you have any last minute thoughts? And I'll pull a couple cards for everybody just to send us on our way. Be
grateful and follow the joy.
Oh.
Just go for the joy factor. It's not about being ignorant. It's not about, it's just about, like, if you make that your priority and you make if you keep gratitude in mind, you remember why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's really something. Like, another thing I noticed at the conference was people were like, I didn't realize it could feel like this. And yet, and I kept saying, well, you held out for that. Like, you kept the gratitude, you kept the joy. They wouldn't have been able to experience the joy They
Right.
wouldn't have been able to receive it if they hadn't
Yeah.
held a little
Yeah.
flame of that, even through the darkest nights where they felt alone, where they were
Mhm.
alienated from their families, where
Yeah.
it felt like nobody was waking up and we were in this battle and we were getting nowhere. And if they had given up, they wouldn't have gone to the
Right.
conference. And
Yeah.
if they didn't
Yeah.
have that flame of, like you said, gratitude and joy in their hearts, they wouldn't have been able to open up and receive. And you could just see the lights coming on. It's almost like, when you have a pilot light and then you turn up the
Yeah.
gas,
And you're
and
like,
it's like,
oh,
it's
cool.
sort
It
of
was
like,
there.
well, the light was there
Yeah. It was
because
always
all we
there.
had to do was apply that extra
Yeah.
little bit of fuel, and it was like, whew,
Yeah.
everybody was lit up like crazy. But if you had let your light go out, you wouldn't have been able to access that joy.
Yeah.
So the gratitude and the joy is absolutely where it's at. I'm pulling 3 more cards to send us on our way. And we've got the King of Wands, the 8 of Wands, and the 10 of Cups. So,
Oh, wow.
that
Beautiful.
is exactly what Charlene just said. It's that, the flame of joy and inspiration and the energy of gratitude and appreciation. It will create more of the same, even if it doesn't all happen. It's almost like we were saving it all up. And then we got this big, huge blast of joy and gratitude. And look at that. There is more where that came from, folks. That conference was just the beginning.
Yay.
We have so much. Look, the King of Wands, the great catalyst,
Right.
the great, I want to say the inventor, the entertainer. It's like coming out bold and bright and strong. And the 8 of Wands, it's all about, that's probably going to take us into 2026, the year of the horse, where
Yeah.
that fire horse energy just gets rocking and things are going to move fast, folks.
Mhm.
So, if this is the year, if this is the month, the month and the week to clean your drawers and do all that, do it, because you won't have time. You
No.
won't have time this time
Amazing.
next year at all.
Can you just say what those cards are again? I can't read them, so.
Yeah, so we have the King of Wands in the
Okay,
past.
it's the King of Wands, yeah.
Yep, and then we have the 8 of
8 of
Wands
Wands.
in the
I
present.
recognize that. It's a
Swiftness.
third I don't recognize very well.
And then we have the 10 of Cups. Okay, we don't recognize it because it's like it doesn't actually come up that often, this card.
Wow.
Sometimes I'd like to do a poll of over the years of which cards actually don't come up that often, but I find the 10 of Cups is one of those ones that you just don't see it very often. And it's kind of like it's the happily ever after card. So it's almost like, it's sort of like the end, but not the end in a bad way. It's sort of like, yeah, there's not much to say after happily ever after. It's the joy and
Start again and
fulfillment.
make it better, happy ever
Start
after.
again.
Just keep like, okay, that's that one. Let's go to this one.
So it's yeah, it's a rare thing to have that card here.
Yeah.
And this is what we're taking into the week. So we've talked about the aftermath of the conference. We've talked about what do you do with this energy of the month of the rabbit, the year of the wood snake, how confusing it feels. But now we're sending you on your way with Charlene's words of wisdom, which is joy and gratitude and inspiration. Have a beautiful week, everybody. And hopefully we will see Charlene here again. We'll invite her on again, maybe with Meg and I, and we can talk about what's coming up in the next few months. Would love to see you again, and have a beautiful week, everyone. Blessings and bye for now.
Ciao.